Honesty, passion, experience. It's Timberwolves Explosion hosted on the Paladino Live Network. And now, your host, Paladino Joey. Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Timberwolves Explosion is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, and I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to the show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. The sun is shining on a Friday morning. The weather is warming up. Lemon and the tomato juice next to me. It's always a good thing. It's exciting. But unfortunately, it was poison lemon again when it came to New Orleans. I always think of the Southern hospitality. It wasn't in New Orleans, but I don't know. It is what it is. Opportunities just kind of thrown away. The Timberwolves, in a group of 4 games, went 2-2. Yep, just opportunities kind of thrown away. Not really sure what to tell you on that one. Just the consistency level with this team is all over the place. They find a way to lose to New Orleans. I don't know. Obviously, there's a reason the Wolves lost in that game. We'll come back to that in a second. An absolute no-show on Super Bowl Sunday against the Clippers at home. What the hell? And then you blow out the Hawks and Blazers. Go figure. So, I don't know. And those are 2 teams the Wolves have had a funny back and forth with over the years. Really, for years and years, whether it's in Target Center or on the road in Atlanta or Rose Garden or whatever they call it in Portland. And then you go into the All-Star break. Woohoo. I mean, yay. Anthony Edwards will either not play or play 5 seconds or, I don't know. He's kind of anti-All-Star game, I guess. It's just not what it used to be. Like, you watch these old All-Star games. Like, there was the 1986 one. Oh, I mean, that was awesome. Of course, Michael was out, so that was kind of a bummer. But you saw Isaiah Thomas, Dominique Wilkins, a really young Hakeem Olajuwon, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. Could go on and on. I mean, just classics, absolute classics from back in the day. And it's, it was still kind of semi-pre-Michael Jordan. Like I said, Michael was around, but I believe that was the year he broke his foot. So, yeah, 84, 85 was when he started. And then that next year he had a broken foot and missed a ton of games, and then eventually came back. Did Michael, and he had that 63-point performance against the Boston Celtics. Unfortunately, the Bulls did get swept in that series because the Celtics were the best in the world back then. So, yeah, there was that. The Bulls making the playoffs was a novelty back in those days. So there will be 4 games to review, 0 games to preview, and the next week it'll be 4 games to preview and 0 games to review. So we're going to do that type of thing. We'll keep the show going because why the heck not? It's not that long of an All-Star break, thankfully, but it is abyss-like for the weekend, which does suck. I do believe there'll be some Olympic hockey, though, which is good. At least you'll have that if you like hockey, which I do. I do like hockey. Not everybody listening likes hockey, and just vice versa. Not everybody on the hockey side likes basketball. That's just, it's an unfortunate reality of everything. People make their choices. Some of us like both. All right, so we're going to hop into this one. Not the, there was no, like I was predicting last week, and it wasn't even a prediction. You just know, like when there's a trade the day before and you have a game, the next day, whatever, you have a game like the day after the trade, the player's not going to be ready. It's not because the player physically isn't ready, but because just the transaction isn't complete all the way. You got to finish some things, paperwork, physicals and such, and then he would make his debut on Sunday. Unfortunately, not a not a good introduction for Ayo to Minnesota, coming to such a no-show game like that. He's probably like, wow, I might as well have stayed in Chicago. Thankfully, after that, things would improve dramatically. But I digress. Back to the Friday game. Yeah, against the New Orleans Pelicans. Lemon and the tomato juice. I don't have the celery salt in there yet. That's a damn shame. I thought I put it in. Come on, man. Celery salt, thank you, Lunds and Byerly's. No, I know, free plug, I guess. What the heck? Campbell's tomato juice. Yeah, Think of New Orleans, how do you not think of lemon and tomato juice? That's kind of where all that came from. That's where the idea came from on this show, and they were like, Southern hospitality. Yeah, what the heck? Not everything in the South is bad, right? No, most things in the South are probably good, except the mosquitoes and the humidity. I'll pass on that. We got plenty of mosquitoes and humidity here in the summer. So, and it gets hotter here, if you can believe it. But anyhow, Anthony Edwards made half of his shots. He had a great game, 35 points, 5 of 9 from the downtown, 11 of 22 from the floor. Julius Randle made half of his shots. All of his free throws, missed all 5 of his threes. Jaden McDaniels missed all 3 of his threes and was 2 of 8 overall. Donnie DiVincenzo made only 2 3-pointers, was 2 of 10 overall from the floor, 2 of 7 from downtown. So Anthony Edwards and Bones Highland had great games. Bones Highland basically made half of his shots, half of his threes, 4 of 8, 20 points off the bench. Got it like that. Jalen Clark somehow got 5 rebounds, which is interesting. It's a very interesting number. 4 of them were offensive rebounds, so Jalen Clark kind of hustling out there. Couldn't score a basket, unfortunately. Missed the 2 attempts that he had. Nothing special offensively from Jalen Clark, but he does provide that defense and a lot of the quote-unquote little things that players like Jalen Clark always do provide for a team. Rudy Gobert with 16 rebounds. Ha ha ha. But unfortunately, yeah, he would have some things to say. Not after this game, but after the Clippers game. 5 stocks. That'd be 3 steals and 2 blocks for Rudy Gobert. Now I'm using the stocks number, but we can still say steals and blocks. Naz Reid, 2 steals and a block. Great. So good numbers for certain players, but still, the real reason why the Wolves lost, are you ready? You ready? It's Zion Williamson. This team cannot defend Zion Williamson. They can't. You know how there's just, in the NHL, Jerome McGinley would always dominate the Minnesota Wild. Like, he was like, just all the time. The Wild just lost in overtime to the Calgary Flames. Who do you think scored? Jerome McGinley. Wild lose 5-1. Jerome McGinley with 2 goals and assist or whatever. It was always like that. It was always Jerome McGinley. And Zion Williamson is that for the Wolves. Yep, he's a wolf killer. Might as well go out hunting. Apparently, sometimes wolves come a little further south than normal, and they get about halfway down Minnesota, and that's kind of scary. Like really big wolves, like teeth the size of, like 3-inch long teeth. That's kind of scary. Yeah, that's how they kill deer so easily. You think, deer are weak and they're soft. Are you sure about that? They're not as weak and soft if you're face to face, like man to man, man to deer with one. Good luck with that. They're not that weak. Zion Williamson is a wolf killer. 11 of 13, and that also, again, tells you how powerful wolves are. Oh, God. But, 11 of 13 from the floor, just dominated the Wolves inside. 7 of 9 at the free throw line, 29 points, and Sadiq Bey added 30 points. Again, he's been moved around, former Detroit Piston. He had 30 points. He shot reasonably well, not great, 3 of 10 from downtown, 10 of 21 overall. Murphy the third there, 26 points. The Wolves were beat by these 3 guys pretty good, and Queen over there as well, with a number of good with 8 rebounds along the way. He played the center position. Sometimes I get confused. It's kind of a funky lineup. 3 small forwards, a power forward, and a center. The Wolves just could not handle it. The point guard was the guy coming off the bench, Fears. His shots were lousy. We weren't really fearing him too much. He had 4 assists and 4 turnovers. So his assist to turnover was 1. 1. That's the stat. It's 1. It's 1. Yeah, isn't that great? It's awesome. No, it actually sucks for him anyway. But yes, the New Orleans Pelicans starting 5 kind of destroyed us, except for Jones. Just 1 of 4. But yeah, it was a rough one. It was a real rough one. The Wolves ended up losing by 4 points. It's not like they got blown out, but it was just like, come on, you can't beat these guys for crying all out. What's wrong with you? Like, they just couldn't stop. Zion Williamson destroyed the Timberwolves. Another frustrating overall game against the Pelicans. When Zion Williamson doesn't play, which is pretty often, the Wolves tend to beat the Pelicans. When Zion Williamson does play, the Timberwolves tend to not beat the Pelicans. So, yeah, that's kind of what happened. Super Bowl Sunday was about as super as nothing. The Timberwolves looked about as bad as the Patriots did in that game, by the way. Just so you know, check out Purple Mafia if you're curious about that one. That's a Minnesota Vikings show, but I did cover the Super Bowl. You mean Joey was cheering for the Patriots? Yeah, of course. I don't like Seattle. I just don't. I don't dislike them nearly as much as the team years ago with Richard Sherman, Russell Wilson, guys like that, Michael Bennett. I did not like that team at all. So I loved when the Patriots squeezed past that team when they made that mistake. Seattle got cocky or cute or whatever, tried to make a passing play when all they had to do was pretty much power their way into the end zone. and the ball was intercepted by Butler, and the Patriots were Super Bowl champs moments after that. After a little bit of drama ensued after that, there was a lot of fighting and stuff. It was kind of scary. And Seahawks defensive players trying to force a fumble, and that would have possibly still given Seattle the victory. And the Patriots were just trying to kneel down and ice it. But yeah, that was interesting, to say the least. But this one, interesting in a bad way. Yeah, like you saw what happened. You just saw it. Like Drake May got, basically, there was just no protection. But again, I'm going off into that. And the Timberwolves kind of looked like that in this one. Nah, even worse. I mean, the Wolves scored a lousy 96 points, 115 to 96. Felt like the Wolves were down by 20, like the whole frickin' game. Me and my friend Paul, who always watched the Super Bowl, yep, he was over here. And, yeah, it was a struggle. It was just a nasty, nasty game the whole way. Anthony Edwards, 7 of 18. I've seen worse, but I've certainly seen better. Dosunmo just happened to be out there at the wrong time, I guess. It's not like he played poorly, I don't think. It was kind of fun to watch, but again, I mean, a little out of sync because it's like your first game with a completely different group of guys there, completely different everything. It's a different system, different players. Even if the system is the same, but the players are different, it's going to be different. You got to get used to each other a little bit. Dawson moved 4 of 11 from the floor, 3 of 7 from downtown. Definitely showed signs. You get kind of quickness, getting to the basket and such, and a nice catch and shoot shot. What was it, minus 33? Minus 33. And the vibes in this game are just awful, lousy, and depressing. Rudy Gobert did get 16 rebounds in the previous game. This one he wound up with 7 overall. 5 turnovers. He was sloppy. Man, 2 assists, 5 turnovers. Anthony Edwards, 2 assists, 5 turnovers. Great stats there, guys. So that's, yeah, it's great. I mean, it should be at least the opposite. Even if it was the opposite, it would still be kind of like, it's not that good. But 2 assists, 5 turnovers. Obviously 4 of 10. 4 and 10. I mean, I just, wow. Yeah, it was that bad. It was bad. 20 turnovers, it felt like 30. The Clippers pretty much did whatever the flip they wanted. And it didn't look like they were even trying that hard. They just did whatever they wanted in the game. Kawhi Leonard, 14 of 30. That's not that great. That kind of sucks. He was missing a lot. And he had 41 points. 41. It was the highest point total in a while. That's the joys of leaving the window open. Of course, somebody magically comes real close to the window and starts talking loudly. Come on, people. But anyhow, what can I do about it? Chris Dunn and Mr. Naz Reid got into it. Looked like Chris Dunn, and you hate to just always blame the other guy, but he just wouldn't stop. He just kind of kept pushing into Naz Reid, kind of a loose ball, like a dead play. The ball was out of bounds, whatever. And Chris Dunn just kind of kept, I don't know, I just felt like he wanted something. He wanted to do something. I don't know what the deal was. And Naz Reid had enough of it and flipped out. It was kind of funny. No, I'm an idiot. It's not Naz Reid. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm stopping myself. That was the Hawks game. This is Julius Randle. Where it just kind of kept going back and forth. I don't know why I said Naz Reid, but I apologize. This was a messy overall game, to say the least. Yeah, Naz Reid one started in the next game. Yeah, so you had 2 very dramatic fights. I was like, wait a minute, it wasn't Naz Reid, it's Julius Randle. But yeah, the whole point is Chris Dunn just kind of kept shoving. How it's kind of like the ball's out of bounds and there's a stop of play, and he just kind of kept pushing Randle. Randle's been like, all right, like enough already, and then things kind of ensued. Randle didn't go as crazy as Naz Reid did in the Hawks game, so Randle actually did not get ejected in this one. Chris Dunn did, but there was a technical foul on Julius Randle. There was that. Of course, you're going to get a tech at the very least. Obviously, the Reid one, yeah, that's a ejection. That was guys swinging around really fast. It was pretty funny, actually. It was kind of funny. They were spinning around kind of like a cartoon. It was like a Tasmanian Devil versus, I don't know, like Sylvester or something. It was one of those. It was like a Looney Tunes fight. It was really funny. I actually really enjoyed it. I don't think they enjoyed it. Naz Reid looked like he wanted to, he was just like, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine the anger and frustration in that situation. Or a certain person, it just keeps pushing and making you madder and madder, basically, and you finally snap. and you just want to, you just want to choke each other to death. That's pretty much what took place there. But yeah, I'm kind of jumping ahead. This was a no-show for the Timberwolves, and kind of like the Patriots, it was kind of a no-show in the Super Bowl as well, which was disappointing. Much rather see the Patriots win. At very least, you'd like to see a quality game, especially for people out there, which would be the majority of you, I'm guessing, that didn't really have a horse in the race, that kind of thing. I mean, Patriots are my favorite AFC team. I mean, come on, So it is what it is. I generally like Boston teams, the Celtics, the Bruins, teams like that. So Red Sox, yep. I like Boston teams, Minnesota teams, and Boston teams. So there's that. But yes, Dosunmo looked promising, and you saw a player that is showing signs of being something pretty special here at some point. But I'm still kind of annoyed at the trade, not because of getting Dosunmo, but losing Rob Dillingham. I think the coaching staff and management gave up on him too fast. And I don't know. I don't think he's William Avery. I don't think he's Randy Foye. I think he's going to be better than both of those guys. So I'm a little down about it. Back-to-back, Wolves hosting the Hawks this time, and they showed up. 130. Thank you for showing up, by the way. You no-showed on Friday. You no-showed enough to lose the game. And Mr. Williamson finished you off, basically. And Clipper game was just, what the hell's wrong with you guys? And then Mr. Gobert basically sounded off. Basically, like, if you're going to play with little to no effort defensively, maybe we should be benched. And if I do that, I should be benched too. It was something along those lines. And basically, Chris Finch was like, yeah, we had a conversation about that, and that's about it. Basically, like, he shouldn't be sounding off along those lines. So Chris Finch was a bit annoyed, to say the least, and I'm sure a lot of the players were as well. And a lot of people would tell you that it sounded like he was kind of, because he was talking about the stars on the team, that he was kind of like throwing shade on Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, and that probably didn't go over too well. The comments were actually after the the Pelicans game, and the Clipper game was the response to it, and a lot of people took it as, oh boy, this team is really divided, like what the hell. We criticized the team for lack of effort and accountability. Someone else got to have accountability for the players. So, interesting conversation, to say the least. Yes, this was saying at some point, if the players don't have accountability, someone has to have accountability for the players. I'm on straight effort. I'm just talking straight effort. I'm not even getting to the basketball side of things. Like, mistakes are part of the game, but the effort to me for a team that wants to play for a championship, it's unacceptable. It's not an easy position for a coach to take guys out of the game without directly naming any of the players. It's not something that you want to do, but I think if the players don't show any effort, at some point, no matter how talented we are as a team, if you don't have that, you just can't be a winning team. So, yeah. And then Flip, yeah, God rest his soul. Finch says, I handle all my conversations with ourselves in-house. Disappointing that Gobert felt the need to go outside. Yep, he's annoyed. Nonetheless, that's been addressed already today. There's never been a team that's won anything meaningful that substituted their way there. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. But, substituted their way there, like meaning taking guys out. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. Really interesting comment back and forth. So, yep, that's how he said it. I was like, yep. And then the response was the Clipper game. A lot of people thought, boy, this team really is divided. Like, this is ugly. And then they come back with 2 blowout wins versus the Hawks and the Portland Trail Blazers. Is there a feature presentation in here? Not really. Nickeil Alexander-Walker put up spectacular numbers, Garnett numbers, actually. 23 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, and 6 turnovers. That's not Garnett necessarily, but maybe sometimes. More turnovers than assists, that did not help. So, sloppy game for the Hawks in that sense, or for Nickeil Alexander-Walker. It was actually his homecoming, because the Wolves only play the Hawks twice a year, and only once in the Target Center. So, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, with a decent return, except for the 6 turnovers, put up great numbers, obviously, again, but also got into foul trouble as well as the game progressed. And eventually the garbage time ensued. Nobody on the Wolves really dominated, though Dosunmo definitely more of a looking a lot more of like the guy we traded for here. That first game again was just starting things out. Almost 30 minutes, 21 points, 9 of 13 from the floor, 2 of 4 from downtown, and a +7 versus a -33. So Other players were plus 20s, but their numbers not quite as spectacular. Jaden McDaniel, 7 of 11. Julius Randle, 8 of 14. I wouldn't doubt Julius, and a triple-double, by the way. 12 rebounds, 10 assists. So definitely a nice improvement over the last couple of games from Julius Randle. You're seeing good effort here. A couple of games after the comments. 30 points for Anthony Edwards, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. So we appreciate it. It was kind of a nice, solid, blowout win from the get-go. The Wolves would take the lead and never relinquish it. Dosunmo, again, looks absolutely wonderful, and there's videos out there, people already looking at what he can do, the way he's able to blow by players, and then also, playing help defense, switching up and such. He's just so good at it. The quickness in his feet, Dosunmo, the way he's able to force players into missed shots, very impressive. So Dosunmo looks like the kind of guy that's going to bring major value to this franchise in so many ways. The fact that you can have 3 guards out there rather than having smaller guards, this has been brought up, rather than having it say Dante, Anthony Edwards, and Bones Highland, you can have Dante, Anthony Edwards, and Dosunmo. Now, Bones Highland still deserves minutes and everything. I think he's a good enough player, and he's at least a good spark plug. But if you want to have that 3-guard lineup, that type of thing, Dosunmo tends to fit better. He can be kind of that Scottie Pippen-ish role, kind of a Scottie Pippen-ish point forward, even though he's more of a shooting guard, of course. But he'd be more the point forward, so to speak. He did have 3 assists in the game, nothing spectacular. Anthony Edwards, Dante, and Julius Randle led the way in assists in this game with 26 assists combined. 26. 10 for Julius and then 6 for each of Julius and, not 26, 22. Crazy, 22 assists. What the heck kind of math was that? Seeing too many 6s, that's why. But, great numbers for those guys. 36 assists, 15 turnovers, not bad. A lot better than the previous couple games there against, the Clippers and the Pelicans. Lousy games. This was a blowout, and you felt a heck of a lot better. And Dosunmo looks like the kind of guy, again, he's got those quick feet defensively, but quick feet offensively. He's got the first step that he can get on guys and drive to the basket. He's not just out there shooting mid-range or long-range shots all the time. He attempted 4 threes, which is fine. 2 of 4. I mean, that's some people might say shoot more, but yeah, okay, sometimes. But if you can get a step on someone and score, go for it. I like that kind of basketball more, actually, but that's just me. Also added an and one. Only 1 free throw attempted and made. So it's not like he's at the line, getting tons and tons of free throws. But some games he's capable of doing it, partially because you're driving to the basket and earning it, which Dosunmo did a pretty good job, I think, in this game. I think it was wonderful. Very impressed. Again, just sad about Dillingham. Maybe we'll look at him in a minute with some of his Bulls games coming up. Final one here, the Portland Trailblazers. Yep. So 133-109, another, basically a similar game. It was kind of like, this game was kind of like last one. A guy by the name of Drew Holiday, 9 of 22. That's way too many attempts. I wish the Timberwolves had Drew Holiday right now. I'm not kidding. I wish the Timberwolves could have somehow found a way to get Drew Holiday during the trade deadline. I would have been targeting him. Great numbers, even in his older age now. Yeah, 1990, yeah. So he's, Rubio's age, which is not young anymore. He'll be turning 36 on June 12th. That is my friend Dave Reinhardt's birthday. And unfortunately, the Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman murders took place on the same day. In 94, though, but you get the idea. So Drew Holiday would have been a 4-year-old at the time. Why am I bringing that up? I don't know, because it's the date. But I'd be a huge fan of Drew Holiday on the Wolves. I wish, doggone it, I wish Drew Holiday could be here. It's like, yes, he's an older guy again, but he's closer to his prime than Mike frickin' Conley. Let's just be honest about that. I've always been a Drew Holiday fan, going back to his days in Philadelphia at the beginning. Pelicans, of course, wonderful numbers. Bucks, just a perfect fit. Celtics, that didn't work out all that great, but he wasn't that bad. And Portland, he's kind of like, his role seems to be more increased there. Big fan of Drew Holiday. Didn't he win a title with the Celtics, or am I getting mixed up with a different year? I thought he did. I think he won a title with the Celtics. 24, they won it, right? So yeah, he's got 2 titles. Cool. That's what I thought, because I know he won the title in 21 actually, with the Bucks, Milwaukee Bucks. I've always been a Drew fan. I remember just hearing Drew Holiday on the Bucks. It's like, ooh, they might go all the way, and they did. Drew on the Celtics. It's like, yep, The guy knows how to win, and I'd like to see him get his third ring as a Minnesota Timberwolf. Wouldn't that be amazing? Avdija actually, had an awful game. He's an excellent player. Didn't he make the All-Star team? Yeah, instead of Julius Randle, which kind of pisses me off. So, 3 of 14 from the floor, minus 32. Yeah, well, it is what it is. It just didn't work out so good, did it? Scoot Henderson with 18 points off the bench, and Drew, of course, leading the way with 23, but didn't shoot all that great. Julius Randle with 41. I wouldn't doubt that had something to do with that Danny Avdija thing. That Drew probably should, or Julius Randle, not Drew Randle. Julius Randle should probably be in the All-Star game instead of the other guy, Danny Avdija. Yeah, he probably should be. I think Randle's a better player, but maybe sometimes that up and down effort thing is a turnoff for some of the people voting. So I guess that's the case. Dosunmo, 28 and a half minutes, 12 points, 5 of 8 from the floor. He missed both of his threes. But again, the drawing, getting to the basket, I just love his game. The assists and the defense. Yeah. He's going to be a very valuable player for this team. The Wolves so missed Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and looks like we got a similar player. He's actually long. His arms are long. It's just he's not as tall, that's all. But he does have long arms. That's where the good defense can come from. I kept thinking, he's nowhere near as long as Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but then when you look closely, no, his arms are very long, and that can definitely help. Nickeil's longer, he just is, but that's okay. That doesn't mean Dosunmo can't play a similar role for this team and do a great job of it. He's actually stronger. So that's the other thing, where Nickeil is longer, but Dosunmo is stronger. It rhymed, but not really trying to, but it did rhyme. Longer in one, stronger in the other. So I'll take the stronger one. You can play stronger defense, not be overpowered as much. Dosunmo definitely has Dosunmo just has better balance, I would have to say, in a situation like that. So when a stronger player is trying to drive past him, they're going to get denied more likely than going up against a Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So there's pluses and minuses. Nickeil is, of course, having a wonderful career in Atlanta. He looks like he's on his way to borderline all-star numbers. Dosunmo, I don't know if he's going to be an all-star or anything, but I guess you never know. He may become a household name here. Certainly wasn't a huge household name in Chicago, but when his name did get brought up and you kind of analyzed what he could be with the Wolves, it's like, yeah, it's a pretty good trade for the most part. Yeah, no doubt. With that, I think we're going to name our awards and demerits here. I don't know. Yeah, Donnie DiVincenzo, 3 lousy points, 1 of 5. I don't think Dante had a particularly good week, but yeah, he did other things in this particular game. Julian Phillips, he had some good he played in garbage time. He got his 4 points. Good for him. He's very young, and people see him as there's something there. It's kind of like a flyer for another flyer. So Leonard Miller gets a flyer with the Bulls. Julian Phillips gets a flyer here, or the Wolves get the flyer with Julian Phillips. So we'll see what happens with them. Hope it all works out nicely on the Wolves side. And hey, wishing Leonard Miller a great career as well. We'll talk about those guys in a minute here if possible. Otherwise, the Lone Wolf Award for this episode, it's kind of all over the place in a lot of ways, but should I? I don't know. I'm debating. It's like you want to just say Anthony Edwards almost every show. But I really like the vibes that Dosunmo brought. I'm going to give it to Dosunmo. Welcome to the Wolves. I'm going to give it to Dosunmo, what he did against both the Hawks and the Blazers. Very impressive showings. Definitely did a good job, even guarding Nickeil Alexander-Walker at times. Dosunmo is going to get the award. I can't give it to Randall. He had his ups and downs. Rudy Gobert, I think I'm going to give him even though he has made some good points, it's probably not a good idea to get too public and throw shade at your star players. Probably not. I don't think that helped. So Rudy Gobert is going to bring home the Johnny Flynn Memorial. Rudy Gobert is going to bring home the Johnny Flynn Memorial. I don't really mean it to be mean to him necessarily, but I don't know. Maybe he should watch it a little bit. And I think some of the players, I don't know, get annoyed with some of that kind of stuff. So there's that. Again, I don't blame him for being frustrated. I really don't. I've been frustrated with a lot of things in my life, and I like to speak out too, but sometimes you just almost like you can't. It kind of is, especially when it's public for everybody could hear it. Like if I put it this way, like imagine you're really tired of the way things are going at work with people, and you go public and everybody hears it. Everybody hears it. Like you get in front of a meeting with the entire group. Like we're talking a bunch of people, depending on what kind of place you work. Yeah, it wouldn't probably go over too well. Probably wouldn't if I just kind of expressed my frustration, like I'm, and maybe throwing the supervisor or fellow production coordinator or whatever under the bus. That probably wouldn't go over too well. Probably not. Or the trainers or whatever. That probably wouldn't go over too well. Like say if you work in a factory. So just saying. So there's that. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll look at maybe the Bulls a tiny bit, and then fan interaction. It'll be like a 2-segment show this time. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment number 2. This will be a 2-segment show, and next week probably will as well. So it's like mostly reviews this one, or mostly previews next. We're going to look at the Bulls a little bit here. Rob Dillingham debuted with doubles last Saturday the 7th against the Denver Nuggets. Oh, goody. But, played almost 22 minutes, 9 points, 3 of 7 from the floor, made a single three-pointer, 4 assists, and 3 turnovers. So it's like, yeah. And the Bulls basically kind of saying some of the similar stuff they were saying here, that Rob Dillingham needs to kind of, he needs to work on his overall ball control. He needs to work on his ball control and decision making. That's kind of similar to what's going on here, but they're going to give him more of a chance to work on it on the court in actual games rather than just practice, and then we're not going to play you ever. How can you build any confidence just rotting on the bench forever? Eventually it's like, okay, am I ever going to be a factor? Am I ever going to play? Or am I just going to be one of those guys that wears warm-ups and watches the game? Just one of those guys. And then eventually, adios amigo. Like Johnny Flynn, who had an extremely short career, and he was a 6th overall pick? Like, how disgusting is that? It's depressing to even think about. What do you mean Johnny Flynn, actor in music? I want the NBA player. Actor in music. And those ugly, awful uniforms the Wolves used to have. Ugh. I mean, the Wolves uniforms now are pretty awful, too. Like, they've had better uniforms, put it that way. I didn't realize Johnny Flynn started all 80. He played 81 games. He started all of them in his rookie year. And he was 5th in Rookie of the Year voting. And then after that, it's just everything kind of dropped off. The guy was a bit out of control. His numbers were decent for a rookie. 13.5 points, 4.5 assists. It's just not that great. Turnovers, 3 a game. Yeah, it's shitty. That's like 4 assists, 4.5 assists, 3 turnovers. And then he had a couple of cups. Second year, clearly way down there. The minutes went from from 29 basically down to 18.5. But still rotation-ish, but 5 points. Same amount of assists practically, 3.5. 2 turnovers. Yeah, just ball control. And his shooting sucked, 36.5. And then he also had some kind of a hip injury somewhere along the lines. And he was just basically never the same. Cup of coffee with Houston and Portland. He was a pretty young guy there, too, with the Wolves, obviously. He was only 21 in his second year with the Wolves. And then 2011, 2012, he played with Houston and then wound up with Portland and never played again. So he played in other pro leagues, basically in Europe after that. 5 points a game with the Blazers, 3.5 with Houston. I can imagine Dillingham doing more than that. I truly can, and he probably will. So far with the Bulls, 9 points. Leonard Miller got 2.5 minutes and was a +2 and a steal. That's it. No shot attempts or anything. We're going to continue to examine the Bulls here. They lost all the game, man. They've lost every game in February so far. They've been awful. Awful. Oh, boy. I got a feeling Donovan might be on his way out here. And I like Billy Donovan, too. It's just kind of a shame. Yep. I like Donovan. But let's look at the Bulls again here. Rob Dillingham, 22 minutes, 8 points, 4 of 10, not 4 of 8. That'd be pretty, well, it'd be better. Missed 1 3, 7 rebounds. That's interesting. 7 rebounds for Rob Dillingham. Hustling a little bit. Only 1 turnover, but only 1 assist, too. so not great assist-to-turnover ratio, but only 1 turnover in 22 minutes, and adding 7 rebounds. Maybe a little defense thrown in there as well. 2 offensive rebounds for Robbie D. Leonard Miller did a DNP CD, did not play coach's decision. That was against the Brooklyn Nets, lost by 8. The Bulls lost by 16 to the Denver Nuggets. Is that a 19-point loss to the Celtics? Yeesh. Celtics, even without Tatum, have been freaking good this year. They've been really, really good. So they deserve some credit there for sure. Yup. Rob Dillingham. 30 minutes in this one. 16 points. There you go, Rob. 16 points to Rob Dillingham. Missed 2 threes. That's it for there. Made half of his shots, though. 4 of 5 from at the free throw line. 7 assists. 3 steals. And 3 turnovers. So he had 3 turnovers, but he made up with it by getting the ball back 3 times as well. 4 personal fouls, but 30 minutes. At least he was on the floor. Good for Rob. Unfortunately, in a losing effort, though. So that's the bad part. Leonard Miller played 7 minutes, 5 points, 3 rebounds for him. But again, garbage-ish time, basically. Unfortunately, that's kind of what Leonard Miller's going to get for now, unfortunately. And we'll have to wait and see how things go there. But encouraging sign for Dillingham there with 16 points. With the Bulls. So 3 games in, Rob Dillingham is, see if we can see this. Hopefully they show him as a Bull. Just show it. Why can't this be good? It's not as good as you like. Okay, I think if I hit summary, then it'll switch up. Yeah, Chicago, 3 games so far. Overall, he's averaging about 24.5 minutes. 44.8% from the floor, 16% from free-point range, or 17. 4 assists, 11 points. 11 points. Okay. Cool. 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2.3 turnovers. So, well, it's still better than Johnny Flynn, I'd have to say, in that amount of time. So I do have a feeling Rob Dillingham's going to be a better player than Johnny Flynn. I know that's not somebody you want to compare yourself to at all, but wishing Rob Dillingham the best in Chicago. So we'll keep an eye. We'll monitor him closely because I care. Dang it. I want to know how he's going to do. And I don't know. I think the Wolves gave up on him too quick. Only 84 games with the Wolves if you do the math. So that's not enough as far as I'm concerned. And only averaged about 10 minutes a game with the Wolves. So that kind of sucks. Actually, less than last year. Like, what the hell, man? Rob Dillingham, lemon and tomato juice to you, okay? Wishing you the best. That's what I want to say about that. So, the actual fan interaction part now, which unfortunately is always kind of light, but hey, the guys that talk to me, I really appreciate it. Where did Tanez go? I know Tanez said something. What happened here? Maybe you have to dig back a bit. Tanez said, I know he said something. Vince Germano said, really? Okay, first we'll start with Hopeless Wolves fan. Hopeless Wolves fan was local, says, still on the outside looking in. Improved the bench, sure, but still missing something. And I think that was during that stupid Clippers game. Oh, I just had thoughts on the trade deadline. Thank you, Hopeless Wolves fan. Yep. Still kind of on the outside looking in. Tanez said something, didn't he? I swear, I read it. That is so weird. Very strange. Yep, and I read Benzo at the time. Yep. Okay, well, Vince Germano says, really like the pickup. I'm sorry, Vince. Really like the pickup of Don Dosunmo. Shame Dillingham didn't work. Still think you need a point guard. Yes, absolutely. I don't like the whole bunch of shooting guards and pretending to be a point. I don't like that at all. Oh, they can bring the ball up the court, and I want a real point guard, damn it. So I agree with Vince when he says, still think you need a point guard. Obviously, it says. And in my opinion, Kobe White would have been perfect. Yeah, maybe we could have got Kobe and Dosunmo together. Kobe is still more of a point guard than, yes, like he's still more of a point guard even though he plays kind of a shooting guardish game. So there is that, yes. So as much as I was kind of not all that thrilled about Kobe White, still a hell of a player. Really nice player. Now he's on, the Hornets, I believe? There are even rumors that the Wolves are trying to get LaMelo Ball. I wonder how much that would have cost. And then people are hoping maybe see the other thing that's going on right now, where the Wolves have not brought back Mike Conley, where it's like they basically have his jersey, sewed up and ready to go for whenever But it's just like they're waiting until after the All-Star break. It's something with the salary cap and rules and such, where the Wolves are able to sign. Yes, it is salary related, where the Wolves are able to sign Mike Conley and another player rather than just Mike Conley. Because it's great to bring back this 30-year-old leader in the room, but that 38-year-old leader in the room is not really that great on the court anymore. You know what I mean? So you might want another player on the court as well, which, believe it or not, could be Alonzo Ball, possibly. That one's been out there. Lonzo. The Wolves supposedly were after LaMelo Ball, who's definitely a much higher-end player. That would have been an extremely interesting move. It's just the son of a gun can't stay healthy, very similar to his brother Lonzo, his older brother Lonzo. Both of them, Lonzo's kind of Rubio-like, obviously, which you probably know as much as I do. Obviously, really good playmaker, but not a good shooter, where LaMelo is more of a outstanding offensive player with the playmaking and the scoring ability. Just can't frickin' stay healthy. So, yeah, that's the thing. So, Mr. Ball, the father, why couldn't you have your sons be a little healthier? Then you could talk more. But luckily, he's been much quieter. Was it Lamar Ball? Yeah, big mouth. But, yeah, that got annoying at the time. Lonzo Ball hardly ever talked at all. I remember thinking, Lonzo Ball talks too much. No, he doesn't. It's his dad. So, yeah, LaVar, not Lamar. LaVar, sorry. Close. Sorry, LaVar. Yeah, he talked too much at the time. But, things have definitely quieted over the course of time. Big baller brand. Good for you. I thought it was the Better Business Bureau. What the heck? Jeez. How dare you do that, BBB? They're going to sue you, No, I'm just kidding. The Better Business Bureau, I wouldn't mess with them. Excuse me. But Lonzo, LaMelo, yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe Lonzo. Maybe, what was the other one? Obviously, Conley, but I mean, I don't think the Wolves are going to do that one. D'Angelo Russell, I don't think they do that one, but there's been conversations out there. Like a really crazy one, like DeMar DeRozan. Wouldn't that be crazy? But how many shooting guards do we need, though? I mean, that's the whole thing. We need a point guard. We have Anthony Edwards. He's the best player in the team. What position does he play? Shooting guard. The trade acquisition, what position is he most of the time? Shooting guard. Donnie DiVincenzo, shooting guard. And the guy we didn't trade, which maybe we should have traded, but maybe we couldn't have completed the trade if we tried it. Terrence Shannon Jr. What position does he play? Shooting guard. Okay. So how many point guards do we have? Bones Island. Okay. Sure. Tick tock. Oh, Mike Conley if he signs back. Yeah, he's 38. Bones Highland is a career, reserve at best. He's a good player when he plays, but, he's not somebody you're counting on for major minutes necessarily to lead your franchise to the promised land, is he? I don't know. He might get a ring, but hopefully here. But I don't think he'd be like one of the main cogs as to why. Maybe he might hit a big clutch shot or two to help push the Wolves over the top, but that doesn't mean he's like the main dude that led us all the way and all of that, where I think a Drew Holiday could have been closer to something like that. It would have been nice. But we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll have some news on the next episode or two when it comes to the Wolves making a move. Might be 2 weeks from now. Who knows? But who knows? Maybe Conley will suit up for the Wolves in the next game coming up. We will be previewing those games in the next episode of Timberwolves Explosion, if I actually had the thing up again, but I've been digging around in the Bulls conversation. That's why all I got to do is press this. Yep, it'll be Dallas, Philadelphia, Portland, and the Clippers. So there might be another new Timberwolves, but at least Mike Conley and maybe someone else, unexpected or whatever, could be suiting up for the Wolves for that Dallas game or the Philadelphia game on the 2 Sundays from now. I hope all of you have a happy Valentine's Day. So God bless all of you. Have a wonderful Valentine's Day. It's warming up here in the Twin Cities. Maybe cooling down in Australia. Probably not. Australia and New Zealand. Probably not. It's probably still warm there, isn't it? I'm guessing. Maybe like the equivalent of August there. But I think they're a bit closer to the equator than the Twin Cities here in Minnesota. So there's that. Again, thank you so much for listening. Put a 5-star rating on the episode if you could, or on the podcast, the overall podcast if you could on Apple or Spotify. And we'll talk to you next week. We'll be previewing the games, and maybe there'll be some interesting news to talk about as well.